Good morning, good morning. I tried going live on YouTube. It didn't work, so I'm here on Facebook and then I'll upload. But I hope you're all having a really good start to your day, to your weekend, etc. But welcome to Doll's Rocking Chair Knit and Chat this morning. I have no real news. No real news at all. Except that I'm excited. This is the New Year's Eve of the church year, which always excites me. I like Advent. I like the anticipation, the preparing, the deepening of my faith. All of that goes into it. But today, while we're here, I'm hoping to talk about, or plan to talk about mittens. Mittens. Who's got the mittens? So let me just show you. Oops. I had everything lined up here for my knit and chat. And now everything's falling down. So these are the mittens. Da-da, da-da. Affectionately called Newfie Mitts. And you can find the pattern on Ravelry. It's a honeycomb stitch, so it's really nice, and it creates a soft, pillowy cushion. So I'll put it on to show you. The thumb will be done in the blue as well, but without the honeycomb. So there's my thumb. So, and it's got a nice long cuff on it. And this is the second one. So I will work on that here in a minute. But I thought I'd just talk about mittens for a second because I've had people ask me questions about knitting mittens. And they know I like to knit mittens. I knit mittens and I knit socks. Those are the two that are most consistently worked on in my stash. But when you're working on mittens, it's really important to choose the yarn that feels right. I chose some yarn to do a Christmas stocking, and the gauge was good, but I didn't enjoy working with it. It didn't feel good in my hand. It wasn't expensive. I got it on sale. And in fact, this yarn, which is Woolies, I suppose that's backwards for you, I don't know, at Michael's. It's a medium number 4. Suggested needle is 5, and I'm using a 3.5 because that's the most comfortable I am. And normally I would not use metal. I don't like metal needles. I had a number 3 that I did the cuff on that are made of wood, and they're so much nicer. But I really did want a larger needle, and this is what I got, and that's what I used for the first one, so I've got to finish it. But when you're planning out a project, planning which needles to use and which yarn to use is really important. Also, I'm just looking here, these are 80% acrylic, 20% wool. So there is some wool in this, which will make them a little bit warmer, and it also said machine washable and dryable, so they'll last. Yeah, these are for a gift, so I'm trying to get them done and set aside so I can work on my other mitten, which some of you have seen before, is the Tarevko mitten. Now this goes with, where's the other one? Nope, I'm not seeing it. It's here somewhere. I have the first mitten done. And I think I've shown it before, but I'm not seeing it. This is local yarn. So this is wool, Blueface Leicester Merino Cross, that I purchased 5.5 pounds of fleece that was pre-washed, but then I dyed it. And these were dyed in the cast iron pot. So I got this lovely, not so lovely. It's actually quite nice. It's a gray color. And I really like this design. This is from my friend Tracy. And This is maybe the 4th or 5th pair that I've knit. So that will be what I'm working on next. As soon as this pair's done, and these will probably be for me. And I decided that I'm going to try coming up with the same dye color, good luck, for a hat for myself. Yeah, whether it's a tam, it might be a tam. But Tracy just released a new hat pattern that I want to try, so I may use it. It's hard to say. But choosing the yarn that feels good in your hands, so every time you pick it up, it feels like it's something you want to work on. That's really important. And the needle size. So, like I was saying, those are almost too long for me. I prefer shorter, but my other needles are too short when I'm working with the thicker yarn. They're fine for socks, but this is a heavier yarn and just didn't work. So you pick what feels good in your hand. And then the second thing you want to do, if you haven't been knitting for a long time, is swatch. So, 20 stitches, 20 rows, figure out 40 stitches, 40 rows, and then measure it and check it against the gauge of the pattern. Did you get the gauge? If it's too big, go down a size needle. If it's too small, go up a size needle. I find with mittens, because I've done so many, I don't swatch anymore. I just cast on and go. I have an idea of how many stitches I want to work with. With these mittens, there's 40 around for the cuff and then 42 for the pattern design. And that's a good adult size for this thickness. For a child size, I would do anywhere from 27 to 36. And my go-to is Knit 2 Purl 1 ribbing. I like that. These are Knit 2 Purl 2. So, it depends on your skill level. It depends on, what you have. I have in the past had a child outline their hand. So I have a sense of the size. You'd be surprised at how big some children's hands are. And especially the length. You want to get a sense of that too. And that's all part of swatching. It's getting the sizing and then customizing it to fit, right? Some people go so far as reinforcing the thumb. So I'll put that back on to show you what I mean. So I don't like doing thumbs, so I save them to the end. There. So I put the thumb on and then add a strand of a nylon thread if you wanted. Or what I would do is a bit of a duplicate stitch around where it gets weak when you're picking up the stitches, just to give it a little bit of extra strength around there. It's not something I've done very much because I don't find that mine wear out there. So that's one of the other things you can do. But mittens are customizable beyond different pattern stitches, different stitch patterns, I mean. You can do color work, which is really nice. And the free pattern I'm going to release will have a 2-color color work in it. So we choose our needle and yarn, that's number 1. Swatching is number 2. 3 is reinforcing around the thumb. 4, customize it, whatever way you want to do it, because it's never wrong. That's what I love about knitting, is that it's never wrong. Hi, Alice. Whatever you do, it's okay. And if it doesn't fit someone, give them to someone else who they will fit. So like this is for a very specific person. I know the ones I made for her before. I know the lengths I needed. So that's good. But if it was too small, she could give them back and I could, take it out and do it again. Or I could make another pair and give these to someone else. Hey, everyone watching. And then what's really important is finishing it off neatly. So making sure that your tails are in where they're supposed to be and they're well hidden. And they're locked in place so that when they're worn, especially on the cuff, because as you're putting this on and taking it off and putting it on and taking it off, this could loosen. And then There you go, right? So that is tip number 5. And I have a bonus tip. So the bonus tip, and I mentioned this in a short video I did, was to cast on the second one as soon as you finish the first. And that's what I did. When I finished the top of this first mitten, I immediately cast on for the second. Because then you feel like you've got that to keep going. If you don't, it's very easy, especially with knitters, to put it aside, work on something else, and then forget about it. And you don't want to do that. You want to finish what you started. And I say that as I have 6 or 7 unfinished projects in my bag. But mittens and socks, you need that push to get started again, I think. That's just my own personal opinion. I've heard different knitters talk about it. Stephen West, the knitter designer, that I've done a couple of his patterns, he talks about that when he's talking about socks. And it's the same thing, whether it's a sock or it's mittens or whatever. So that's my bonus tip for mittens, is to cast on the second one. So I'll just take a quick sip here. Oh. Hi, Ruth. I'm also continuing to work on these 4 socks. So this one's finished. These are the Rhinebeck Buddy pattern that you can find on Ravelry. And I'm done this far, so I'm almost done the length. There we go. See, I'm almost done to the heel. Almost. So that's the other thing. I was hoping to have this one done by the end of today. Not going to happen. I've just got too much to do to sit and knit all day long. Oh, I had another tip. What was it? Oh, it's out of my head. I hadn't written it down. You gotta write these things down, right? Totally out of my head. Totally. So today, as I'm sitting in my rocking chair, I'm making meatballs for potluck. So in a cranberry barbecue sauce, I'm going to try that. And maybe make a small cake to go. I don't know how many we're going to have. We're doing potluck and games night at the church. And for those of you who are in the area and can come, please do. It's free. There's not even going to be a basket out at all. It's just a celebration of New Year's, right? In the church, the liturgical year starts with Advent, day 1. And it's tomorrow. So we're going to ring in the new year with some fun. I think some crokinole, some euchre maybe, a couple other games. Who knows? But we're going to have fun. And then tomorrow, of course, with worship, we have communion and we light our Advent candles. And I have 2 purple candles for my Advent wreath. I ordered more. I have them somewhere in a box in the cubbyhole. And I don't want to crawl in there right now to get that. But I get really excited with Advent. People are all hyped up about Christmas. But I don't want to get there too soon. You know, I want to take it day by day and prepare the house and prepare my heart. And as I prepare for worship, there's lots of different things there that I'm doing to prepare. And some of that is knitting. Some of that is spinning. I have a weaving project in my mind that will be a gift. So that's kind of a number 1 thing that's going to happen. Ruth, I love Advent. I love it as well. And I have lots of activities in the bulletin for people to take home. And if you like to do word searches and crosswords, they're there. If you like to color, it's there. I mean, there's all sorts of activities that are going to be happening. The church is decorated. Lots of busy hands this week getting ready for it. So, and I've done a little bit here in the apartment. I've got some twinkly cardinal lights. I hung the one stocking, which is hilarious because the heel doesn't look right, but you know. And thinking about maybe doing some Christmas baking. But that's all preparing, right? As we prepare our hearts, we prepare our home, we prepare for others, and we prepare for the divine. Anyway, that was my rocking chair knit and chat today. I hope that you all have a wonderful, beautiful day as best you can. I know it's not always a happy season for everyone. And even as much as I love Advent, there are moments where some sadness creeps in, some past memories that will never happen again. And yet that's all part of it. Family times can be stressful. Oh my gosh. But we find the joy, right? We find the joy in it. And tomorrow we talk about hope. And there is hope. So that's going to be my message tomorrow. All about hope and what comes next. But recognizing that not everybody's all rah-rah and joyful. Right, Ruth. Suffering and joy come hand in hand. I totally agree. For years, I didn't get that. It took a bit of growth and time, and it's there for me now. And I'm hoping that I can help others see some of that too. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to close out today's Rocking Chair Chat. I'm going to upload this to YouTube for those who will watch later on YouTube. If you have any questions about knitting mittens or socks or knitting anything, you can reach out and just let me know. I may not have all the answers, but I'll be able to point you in the right direction. Thank you so much, Ruth. So are you. I learned a lot from you and really appreciate you. Anyway, have the best day you can. See your blessings everywhere, because even the small things can be a blessing to you. Be a blessing to others. And until next time, bye for now.